Make a podcast about Perry and I.
Make a podcast about Perry and I.
Put Perry and I in a podcast, you guys.
Grab his ears.
Grab his arms and ears.
Are we technically doing that right now?
Hello, best friend Brenbrens, and welcome back to Season 3 of Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 1999 animated series Home Movies. My name's Tim, and I'm obsessed with home movies.
My name is Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
And my name is Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Home Movies Season 3, Episode 9, titled Storm Warning. Original air date November 3rd, 2002 on Adult Swim, written by Brendan Small, Bill Broaddus, and cast, directed by Lauren Bouchard, produced by Carl Adams. Synopsis for this episode: Coach McGurk tries to convince Paula to pose as his fiancé, but Paula needs to get her novel to her agent before he goes on vacation. Meanwhile, a storm is brewing. That's it.
I have a confession this time, guys.
Did you see the title?
I saw the title.
God
You saw
damn.
the title.
It wasn't once, it wasn't twice, but it was twonce. There was...
Once.
That's an Eddie line. He used to kill me with that one.
Oh.
But three separate times I was like...
So thrice.
Yes, but I was scrolling through, and I saw... At first I was like, oh, yeah, that's Guitarmageddon. All right, what's next, Storm? Damn it! And I tried to ignore it, and then I turned it on, and I saw Josie with the marbles, and I was like, wait, is this the marbles episode? God damn it, no, I looked at it again. And then at a glance, I saw it for a third time, so I did see it. I couldn't look away at this point. I failed.
It's like Jason looking at Melissa's fake boobs.
It's true.
I can't move my eyes. Well, we got a lot to jump into with this episode, but before we do that, I think we should jump into the Creative Corner. The Creative Corner, of course, is something in the realm of creativity, consuming, producing, whatever that we want to bring to light. So please, Mr. President, Creative Corner, a doodly-doo.
Oh, I had a heart attack, dude. I almost had
Oh
a
my
fucking
God.
heart
Marston's
attack.
face. Marston's eyes popped out of his skull.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is a president, which is wild. And I mean, personally, I've got some questions about some of these drone strikes to be, I gotta go.
Bye, Barack.
Later. Peace out.
Can you come back, please?
Barack, come back, please. I'll do anything.
Barack Hussein Obama, please.
I know. We booked him for the Creative Corner, but I was trying to low-key get him in for a third term. Who wants to go first on this Creative Corner? Or I can. I don't mind. Oh, okay. Marcin, you can go first.
Damn.
I will go first. Mine is something... It's not so much a creative corner as it is just another call to action. My therapist actually put me on this app. It's called 5 Calls. So the number 5 space calls. Make your voice heard. 5 Calls is the easiest and most effective way for U.S. constituents. Constituents, thank you, sir, to make a political impact. Calling your congressperson is the most effective way to influence policy. And this is basically, it has your location, and it gives you 5 people to call, 5 calls to make within 5 minutes, and it gives you things to say, gives you things in order to make your voice heard. Because I know it's very hard for you to go finding that stuff for yourself, especially just not necessarily knowing, but right now is a time where I think we all need to make our voices heard. So
Absolutely.
if you are looking for something to do to help out, I would suggest downloading this app and just going through, and when you feel like you need to do something, look at that app, download that app, go through the app, make those 5 calls, takes 5 minutes.
Hell yeah. Say what it's called again.
5 calls. Number
yeah.
5, space calls.
Nice.
That's a really good one, and it's very important. Thank you for actually finding something like that, because I know a lot of people don't have that resource. So
Yeah.
very important, kids.
It really is. My therapist put it on for me, so I am very appreciative of them.
Hell yeah.
Very, very cool. I feel like my creative corner is very stupid now.
Nope. It'll be much,
No.
much cooler.
We'll see. Adele, would you like to go next, or shall I? I don't mind.
I can go next. It's
Okay.
fine. So mine is pretty relevant to the actual plot of this episode. A couple days ago, maybe a week ago, there was a pretty big storm in our area. And I really like storms. And unless it's a tornado, I'm very afraid of tornadoes. But it was just like a hailstorm. And so I decided to like take some time away from my phone, from screens, and just fucking listen to music and watch this goddamn storm. And like just observe nature and just the power of the storm, and having really fucking good music on while I'm doing it. And it's just, I think it's really important to take time to do stuff like that, to really appreciate nature, appreciate just art in general, and to take time away from all the fucking bullshit and just be quiet with yourself for a minute and just fucking observe instead of, I don't know, man, these screens are crazy and I'm so tired of them. So look at something else. Like a storm.
You are absolutely correct. This was going to be one of my tangents later on in the episode, but I love storm watching. I love it. When back in my childhood home, we had a porch swing, and
Nice.
when the storms rolled by, we all walked outside and we sat on that. It is a pastime of mine. I love watching
Absolutely.
storms. I
The
love it.
smell, I love the smell of storms.
The clouds, dude. Like
yeah.
the way that it's gray and it's white and it's dark, but it's still, the light is rolling, and it's beautiful. And that's the thing. Nature is so beautiful, and we take it for granted
Absolutely.
every day.
Yeah. Touch grass, kids. It's true. Do it.
Literally, I saw a tweet the other day, not by, looking on Twitter, but it was like, just shown to me. I can't get through a day without someone showing me a tweet. But it was something along the lines of, nothing is real anymore. We have no idea. Like, someone could throw anything into the ether. Anything we're looking at is just made by artificial whatever. We don't know anymore. It doesn't matter. Like, just get off the fucking internet. Stay in the real world.
Yeah, that is so fucking true. It's very scary times, especially with AI getting more intelligent, because, again, we're not going to know what's real, what's fake. The only thing we can truly know what's real is what we see with our own fucking eyes in real life. So I think we just need to make more time to do that, and less time guzzling down the bullshit that they're constantly feeding us. So, yeah.
Here.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of along those same lines, too, I would kind of encourage anyone. I had a conversation with my parents not too long ago about AI and scams and stuff like that. Like, my dad almost got caught up in a scam. I had to talk to him about, like, hey, if you get a phone call from a weird number and it sounds like me or, one of your other kids, it sounds off, they need money. I tell him, I'm like, hang up the phone and call us directly. Make sure that it's actually us.
I had that same conversation with my parents, and we developed a password.
Yeah.
So if there is like something that's questionable, they just ask what the password is, and that's how you know.
What's the password?
Absolutely.
I'm not. Oh yeah, let me just say that into the ether.
I
For
gotcha.
the steal.
My password is ABC123. Why?
My password is password, actually.
My password?
Yeah. And when they say, what's the password? It's like, oh, there it is. You said it. We did it.
1,
So
2, 3, 4, 5. That's the password.
smart. Well, that was also a very good creative corner, Adele.
Thank you.
Remember when I was like, my creative corner is going to suck ass now compared to your guys'? I feel even more so about that now.
Tim, I wish you wouldn't think that way.
Okay.
Yeah, we
well,
love you.
Here goes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love you guys too. I feel bad because I couldn't think of a creative corner today. I was like, oh, here's a video game I've been playing. And you guys are like, hey, call your local congressman or go outside and touch grass and disconnect. And I'm like, I got this video game I really like.
Video games are needed. They are needed.
Yeah.
They're good.
It is traditionally a form of escapism, but this game, guys, I don't know how to say this. I think it's Suikoden. It's the game I've been playing. It's a JRPG. I played it for the first time when it launched in 1997.
Damn.
Yeah, but they just remastered it, and it's a game. Sorry, it was that the clip you were referring to. What was that, Kevin Hart? I think someone told him his age, and he was like, "Damn." Sorry.
Is that what that's from?
Yeah, I think so. But this is a JRPG, originally launched for PlayStation 1. My brother and I played it a lot, and now they recently remastered it, so you can get it on Switch or Steam or anything else. I played on my little handheld gaming device. Because it's a remaster of a PS1 game, they just, honestly, they just kind of fixed a lot of backgrounds. They fixed a lot of character models. It's very dialogue heavy, so when a character's talking, it shows like a little square with their model. But the best thing they did for the game, and this was such a curse in the PS1 times, was they made the font so you can actually read it instead of being like a pixelated, garbled bunch of shit. So yeah, I'm looking at a pronunciation. It claims it's pronounced Suikoden. It's Suikoden. The remaster just came out, and it's the first two. They're really fun games. It was one of the first games I saw that had this mechanic where if you complete the first game, you can take your save into the second game and then use your character from the first game. Just like a cool thing you can do. But yeah, basic RPG, a lot of dialogue, a lot of go here, do this quest, come back, tell me about it. And then it's turn-based fighting, and you can have people like join your crew and kind of mix and match your team and stuff like that. It's really fun. It's really in-depth, and it's a great distraction.
Nice, and we need distractions sometimes.
We do. In order to keep our mental health in check. And I think
Absolutely.
I think that was something that you brought up on the Happy Corner a couple times ago, where you guys were going back to older video games because the newer video games are just, I'm not paying $70 for an unmade game. It's not done yet. I want to go back and play Lenore. I want to play Red Dead Redemption. I want to play, maybe not GTA 5. That game's old. But there's so many good games that I just want to go back and play. I want to play Duke Nukem Forever again. That's what I want to do. It's such a trash game I want to play.
Yeah. I had that same thought except for the Borderlands games. I feel like the Borderlands games, if I go back to, are going to be a little cringy, but I still enjoyed playing the first two.
Oh, absolutely.
Is Duke Nukem the balls of steel?
Oh,
yeah.
I came here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
That game is so trash. It is, like, just a quick, I'll take this as a tangent, but, like, Duke Nukem, when I first played that game, there's an achievement you can get in the first, 5 minutes of the game where you walk into the bathroom and you can grab, feces out of a toilet and you can pick it up and throw it. Yeah, it's gross. But you get an achievement that says turd burglar. That's the, level of juvenile delinquency in that type of game. And you know what? I want to play that over whatever the fuck these AAA games are throwing at me these days. I'm not paying $70 for an unbroken game.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Duke Nukem is a definitely turn your brain off, get your junior high humor up. Yeah, those games are ridiculous. But yeah, Suikoden is a very fun game. I recommend it. If you can't get the remaster, you can definitely play the original through an emulator. Don't pay money if you don't have to.
Yeah. Great creative corner, my love.
Absolutely.
Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, thank
It was
you.
great.
You guys' was better.
Stop. Go.
Okay. You guys ready to break down this episode?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am. This is a fun episode. Storm warning. This episode did have commentary. The commentary was a little bit different than traditional commentary, okay? This commentary was actually, they addressed a lot of fan questions, a lot of FAQs, frequently asked questions. There wasn't a lot of information that was relevant specifically to this episode, but I guess just a lot of cool information as it were. Brendan talked about, well, I guess I'm like, none of this is relevant. And then the first thing I have written down is Brendan is from Springfield, Illinois. So the whole premise of a storm warning going to the basement really hit home for him.
What the freaking heck?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Brandon's from Springfield, Illinois?
Grew up in Springfield,
Dang,
Illinois.
He's an Illinois boy.
Oh, no. From the
Oh, no.
the capital.
He's a boy from the suburbs. It's his destiny.
He's from
Hell yeah.
Illinois.
Mm.
Illinois.
He knows the struggle.
So Brendan talks about home movies and how when it aired, it really didn't have as much of a success as I would say it does now. And he said a lot of that had to do with people didn't know what to make of the show. It was a show about kids, but it was not a kids show. A lot of people gave them weird compliments. Like, oh, hey, yeah, home movies. I hated that show at first.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so Brendan did talk about how, yeah, it's not your typical show in that aspect. Oh, at one point, Brendan said he does have a lot of couples writing in that say that couples enjoy the show together.
Oh,
Yeah, which I thought was really sweet. And then immediately he said, yeah, it seems like a lot of these relationships really wouldn't work without home movies involved.
wow.
Oh, so that made me laugh. And then another thing they did talk about in this commentary, because commentary for seasons 2 and 3 has just been Brendan Small and Lauren Bouchard. A common complaint was in the first season, the commentary was Brendan Small, Lauren Bouchard, John Benjamin, and Melissa. And people were like, I couldn't listen to that, man. It was too much. Too many people talking. Everybody's talking over each other. It was just super chaotic. And that was something that they acknowledged. They were like, sorry. They said once we realized that the commentary was almost unlistenable, by the time we tried to do something, it was kind of too late. So that's pretty much it.
I mean, do you feel like you've listened to the commentary? Do you think it was that? Do you think it was unlistenable?
Some of it, yeah. Yeah. With multiple people talking over each other, and then just the chaos of John Benjamin, some of it was just like, yeah, I gained nothing from listening to this. It's fun to listen to once, but usually if you're listening to commentary on something, like it's because you're deep. You're into it. You've probably already seen the content once or twice at least, so you just want to know more.
Fair enough.
That's it. Yeah. This episode, we open not with your traditional opening scene, but with a cute little scene with Brendan and Josie playing with marbles on the floor in front of the TV that says home movies. Brendan flicks a marble at Josie, who picks it up and proceeds to stick it in her nose.
Call back.
This is why I looked at the title, because I was like, oh, I'm on the wrong episode. Because I thought it was the Marbles episode.
Yeah, was that season 1?
It was,
that would have been
I believe so, yeah.
Squiggle Vision.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we get to the actual first scene, which is someone ringing a doorbell. Brendan answers the door. I don't know if you noticed, he's like holding Josie like to the side, almost like a football. And then the other part that cracks me up, Brendan opens the door and Coach McGurk just walks in.
Oh, yeah.
He tells Brendan he drove by, saw the light was on, so he decided to stop in.
That is such like a long time ago thing for people to do. Who fucking does that shit where it's like the lights are on, so I just stopped by?
Yeah, that's wild.
That's kind of what I expected life to be. I wanted life to be like that 90s family where it's, let me just walk into Adele's room real quick and grab an apple from the fridge, then leave. Like that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's so sitcom, dude. That is so sitcom coded. That is neighbor at the in the sitcom.
Marston's the quirky neighbor.
That's what I thought.
Love it.
See, that's how I was gonna get into my friends' houses, by climbing through the windows and just,
That's risky business.
It is.
You don't know what
it
you're
truly
walking
is.
into.
Yeah, I think that's why they don't do it anymore. I think someone got shot once and now it's over.
Right. Well, Coach walks by Brendan and approaches Paula, who's in the living room, and tells her he's visiting kids at night. More.
More.
I don't know why just adding more just fucking kills me.
It's the at night and more. That's just a bad combo.
I didn't catch that the first time around.
Yeah,
More.
same.
This is when Brendan points out that Coach parked on the lawn, and Coach says he thought it was the driveway. So we do see a quick outside shot of his car, and he is parked on top of a garden gnome.
No.
Yep. And then also from this angle, we see that Coach McGurk's passenger side door is in fact a different color from the rest of his car.
Dang. Didn't we see that before?
We may have seen it before, but I remember us having a conversation of like McGurk's car gives the vibe of like one door being a different color than the other ones.
Maybe that was the conversation.
Yeah. Why is there a number 4 though?
It's a racing number. I bet McGurk races his car like on the
Oh.
weekends at like the dirt tracks.
No, he goes to like remote roads and just like drag races with the worst types of people.
Yeah.
He does it
races for pink.
Yeah, for pinks, and then whenever he loses, they don't want it.
Yeah. Whenever he loses, he's like, I don't know where the title for this car is.
He's got a nutsack hanging off his back bumper.
That'd be so perfect.
Well, we'll see.
Mm.
No, we have seen the back of his car. I do remember. I believe that was in shore leave. So, well, he goes on to tell Paula that the real reason he's here is to ask for a favor. His sister is going to be in town on a layover at the airport, and Coach wants Paula to come with to say hello. Paula seems confused as to why she would do this, and Coach confesses that all the other moms said no. I love this part. At one point, Paula's like, oh, I would love to, but me and Brendan are going to the movies on Friday. And immediately Brendan's like, no, we're not.
As a kid, I would have been like, hell yeah.
Let's go to the movies.
Sweet. Yeah, what are we going to see, Mom? You going to take me to a rated R movie is what you were saying earlier? Coach goes on to explain him and his sister are very different. He's more freewheeling, in for a good time, and his sister is a little more conservative and religious. I wrote in here in parentheses, a great combination.
Who'd she vote for?
Ooh, we know.
Where was she on January the 6th? Okay.
Tim will figure out if he's going to edit that out or not later.
Nah.
I was wondering on if we were going to see his sister or not.
Yeah.
That was up in the air the whole episode.
I was kind of bummed out that we didn't.
Yeah.
Not to spoil the episode, guys,
Yep.
but I was looking forward to meeting whatever the fuck McGurk's conservative religious sister looks like.
Yeah, I remember her name. It's Donna.
Donna!
Oh.
Yeah.
I know a Donna in
Me
life.
too.
Me too. That 70s show.
You know my mom? Oh, right.
I was talking about Tim's mom.
Oh, I did not know that. I did not know Tim's mom's name.
Doxed. Yeah.
You can edit it out.
No, it's all right. She's also a comedian with the stage name.
I honestly thought there was a possibility that his sister was going to be revealed as, was it Miss Lady? Was that her name from Shore Leave?
That would have been
that's what we called her.
So funny. Oh my God, I wish.
Yeah. Or we see, oh my God, we see Donna, and she's got the babysitter from the first season who like weirdly looked like McGurk.
Yeah.
And that's like her daughter.
Oh my God.
But she's divorced, even though she's religious.
She got it annulled.
Yeah.
God, I would love to have that babysitter come back. Such a weird character.
This is when Coach finally says, so he says it a couple times, but I don't think Paula quite caught it. So that's when he says he's proposing that Paula show up to the airport to meet his sister and pretend to be his fiance.
That's a big ask, because like to say that they're your fiance means that like, oh, you're going to be seeing more of this person in the future.
Right.
It's like a commitment lie.
Plus, it's a lie that's like, oh, you're the fiance? How'd you guys meet? How did he propose?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the ring? How long have you been together?
Yeah. How's wedding planning going?
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's wild. While this is happening, we see a quick shot of Josie with a marble, and she immediately sticks it up her nose.
She didn't listen to the song.
Nope.
She did listen to the song. That's the problem.
Yeah. She misunderstood the song. So this is when Paula finally realizes what Coach's plan is and asks if it's a ruse. So Coach is confused, and Brennan corrects her and says that she means ruse. And Coach cannot seem to get over the fact that Paula got one word wrong. Even at one point when she's trying to like move on, he's like, wait, Paula. Am I smarter than you?
Yeah, because that's really going to convince her to do what you want by fucking making fun of her.
Yeah. Paula pushes back when Coach says that and says that she is sleep deprived. But Coach seemed like genuinely taken aback that he knew a word that Paula didn't. Even saying this has never happened to him before. So we get a real quick shot of Josie then blowing the marble out of her nose.
She's adapted.
Yeah, she's figured it out.
Yeah.
Coach is still trying to convince Paula to act as his fiance, even saying that she can bring Brendan. They're dating, and Coach is like Brendan's dad, and Brendan loves him.
Brendan agrees.
Brendan is like super on board with this.
Yeah.
Paula not so much.
Oh, at one point previously, he does say that Brendan's a smart kid, which I thought was endearing.
Okay, so he does say that with the whole ruse thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny to me because I feel like in canon, like Brendan, I'll say this about Brendan. I feel canonically how they've set him up in the show is he's not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously like has ADD or, you know, is dealing with some kind of stress anxiety, test taking anxiety, whatever. They've always set up Brendan that he's not great in school.
Right. You don't have to be book smart to be street smart.
That's true. And this, I will add in commentary when they were going over the Q&A and stuff, Brendan Small, the actual person, seems to be like, yeah, high school's bullshit. I fucking hated it, and it was hell. So,
That's fair.
Yeah, there's a reason that Brendan Small, the character in home movies, never has a good time in school.
I mean, American education is just a sham, and it's all built around this weird popularity contest when you're going to school. Like, the classes don't matter. It's all about your experience when it should be about the education you're receiving.
Yeah.
But...
Preach it, brother.
Hell, yeah. All right, at this point, Coach has Brendan hop on his lap, and he makes him look in the mirror and says, somebody take a picture. This is the happiest family I've ever seen. So... That's when we hear a radio go off saying there's some nasty weather on the way, and it's best to exercise caution over the next couple days. I don't know why this cracks me up, but he's like, this is your goofy weatherman. When he tells them to exercise caution, McGurk is like, I hate that guy. And then when he's like, this is your goofy weatherman. Woo. Coach is like, I like that.
I was expecting like a funny weatherman name, but they never said a name.
No name.
His first name's Goofy.
Yep, last name Weatherman.
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
Brendan and Coach go on to do a bit of You're the Dummy, where they pretend Brendan's a ventriloquist dummy, saying, you're the dummy, no, you're the dummy. And eventually Coach is like, all right, hey, wait a minute. So the next scene, pass across a door that says closed set, and we see a poster that says movie history. It appears in this movie that Melissa is interviewing Brendan. She asks Brendan, Mr. Peelberger. So this is like a play on Spielberg.
Oh, I didn't hear that part, but I was like, that looks like Steven Spielberg.
Right. So there's a lot going on here. So obviously this is like a Star Wars thing. He says a little bit later here that it was originally called Planet Battles.
Go, Planet Battles.
But he is dressed up like a Spielberg type, being Mr. Peelberger.
Looking at the poster for movie history, who's the graphic designer that they have on staff? Because they...
Yeah, the graphic design for the poster, the costumes. I mean, this movie is pretty high budget.
Yeah. I would say since we've seen... Well, have we seen Brendan on a computer? No, he's just watching his movies on a TV.
Yeah.
So then I don't know. Don't know. Maybe they outsource. Fiverr.
Yeah.
It's Walter and Perry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like this. The question is it true that this is the first installment of what will be a 6-part trilogy? So this being an obvious like Star Wars type spoof, and it being around 2002, this is around the time that the Star Wars Episode 1 came out. So it makes kind of sense that they would ask if this is part 1 of a 6-part trilogy, because at the time they're like, oh, the original Star Wars trilogy, and now they're doing the episodes 1, 2, and 3. Like, it's going to be 6 parts. They'll probably leave it alone after that.
Huh.
The fact that she asks if it's part 1 of a 6-part trilogy cracks me up. So yeah, this is when Brendan goes on to explain that the movie was originally called Planet Battles, but he changed it to movie history so he can say that he's making movie history.
It's a good workaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. Changes the name of the movie to movie history so he can say he's making movie history. Even encourages Melissa to say, you're making movie history. We see a clapboard transition, and the clapboard just says mockumentary on it. Now, we have Brendan as another character, and he's introducing Stan, played by Jason. Brendan asks his character, what was it like to work with Julie Bob? And Jason says it was great, and then jokingly asked, which one is she again? Brendan asks if there's anything going on between you two, and Jason casually says, we're having sex.
Damn.
Is Brendan supposed to be like portraying Stan Lee. He's got a Stan Lee impression thing going on.
Another part of this scene that really kind of stood out for me, and it happens in another scene a little bit too, is for whatever reason, Brendan and Melissa in these like interviews have teeth.
Yeah, creepy. Don't like it. Don't like the teeth.
And at first it really stuck out to me, and I realized it's because the kids traditionally don't have teeth. You see their mouths moving, but you don't see any teeth inside. And then as I was watching the episode and I really started thinking about it, the adults don't have teeth either. The only time you really see teeth is when Coach shows off his gingivitis.
Yeah, that's true. So when I first saw the teeth, I was like, oh, is this supposed to be like a commentary on veneers? But back then, veneers were not nearly as popular as they are now.
But I think it was still a little bit of a commentary, and like these are Hollywood type people and they're being interviewed, and they just came off of a huge movie. If they didn't already, they probably got their teeth whitened or fixed or veneered or whatever. So I think that was kind of the point they were making with it. It just, for a long time, I'm like, why does this look so fucking weird to me right now?
It was a little uncanny valley for me.
Didn't even catch the teeth. I was just...
But weirdly, when Brendan is interviewing Jason's character, Jason doesn't have the teeth. It's only Brendan and Melissa and a couple different characters that they have the teeth. So,
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
We need answers about the teeth.
We need answers. Brendan asks Jason if he's signed on to do the prequel, with Jason asking, there's a prequel? And that's when we hear Melissa off camera saying, this is stupid. Jason pushes back and says it's not stupid because he's doing a good job. And Melissa says it's not his acting that's stupid, it's the concept that's stupid. And it's funny because Jason even says, who cares if the concept is stupid if I'm doing a good job?
Interesting, because I remember when Brendan had a concept of doing a backwards movie, they were like, this sucks.
Got his ass, dude.
Yeah. You know what? I am going to, let's talk about that now. I am noticing as of late, Jason and Melissa both are starting to have a lot more pushback on Brendan's movies and his concepts and stuff like that. Whereas it feels like, especially earlier on, they were both like very like, yep, let's do it. Whatever you say, Brendan.
Yeah.
But now that they probably have a few hundred movies under their belts, it seems like they're starting to speak up a little bit more and say, no, this is stupid, Brendan.
And that's
a good observation.
And I want them to have that. I want them to have that pushback on Brendan and be able to have their voices, but I want them to stand on business. And Jason being like, the concept, who cares if that's stupid or not? As long as I'm doing a good job. But it's like Brendan had a concept he was working on. He wanted to do it. He wanted to do a backwards movie. Just roll with it. But now he's doing a good job. He wants to keep going because he's doing a good job. I will say his costume, it looks pretty good. He looked good with the goatee. I don't know what to say.
I did make a comment about his facial hair.
Yeah, I do like it.
Yeah.
A little bit of a Harrison Ford thing going on here.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Jason says, who cares if the concept is stupid if he's doing a good job? And even pushes back and says, I guess if it's not about you, Melissa, then it's not important.
Damn.
Yep. They start arguing, and Brendan gets in the middle and says, okay, Jason, take 5. Let's film Melissa's scenes. After that, we see Paula on the phone talking to a Mr. Fieldsmore. Mr. Fieldsmore is voiced by Brendan. I did not pick that up at first, but he said in commentary that it was him. So Paula tells him she's been working on a book for 8 years now, and he cracks a joke that you're a slow reader. So she clarifies and says, no, she's been writing a book for 8 years now, and she thinks it's finally ready for him to read. She even says he hasn't read anything of hers in probably, 10 years? Mr. Fieldsmore asks who she is, and she says, Paula Small, you represented me when I wrote a couple articles for Out of Ink magazine. She explains that she was working on a book, and then life kind of happened, but now she thinks it's finally ready. Mr. Fieldsmore informs her that he admires her perseverance, but that's about it. And just so she knows, he has never spoken to her a day in his life. He points out she actually dealt with his father, and Paula asks if she could speak with his father, and he delivers one of my favorite lines of this episode, which is, not right now, he's dead.
Great line.
Great line. He was also my doodle this week.
Great line, delivered very deadpan. Yeah, good character. Never see him again.
Damn.
Guest star. Great guest star.
Yep. Well, we're back in the movie where Brendan is now interviewing Melissa's character, Julie, saying her career has taken quite the turn. Brendan goes on to ask her, since she now has the highest fee of any actress in the history of actressing, what does she attribute that success to? That's when we pull back to reveal that Melissa has 2 balloons stuffed in the top of her shirt, and she responds, "They're called boobs, Pat." And they both laugh.
As a woman with boobs, it do be like that out in these streets.
I didn't expect the boobs. That had a loud chuckle from me that I didn't expect.
We see Jason in the background telling Brendan that this is stupid. And immediately Melissa starts pushing back, saying now that she's doing her scene, it's stupid. Jason argues that it's not stupid when he was doing it because he was actually doing a good job.
Damn.
And even kind of points out that she is playing a fairly stereotypical role.
You know, for somebody who is quote unquote in love with Melissa, he really fucking goes for like the jugular a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't want to step on the brakes there because he is a jealous person who wants to have the limelight. He wants the attention. I think I wrote down here, Jason is a hypocrite. Surprise. And it was just, I don't know. I found it very funny that he's like going back and forth with this because like back in the other episode, they were ganging up on Brendan. They do gang up on him again later on, but still they're going back and forth on this.
Well, it's at this point that Melissa tells Jason to stop staring at her fake boobs. We see the reflection of Jason in the balloons, and he tells Melissa he can't move his eyes.
And boys will be boys, am I right, fellas?
It's just some locker room talk, dude.
I thought it was going to be because his eyes are staring at him because the reflection in the boobs.
He's like, I'm so beautiful.
I can see me in those boobs.
That was the line that Tim picked me up with. Just kidding. You can cut that out.
Well, it's true, and I'm not cutting it out. It's not true, but I'm not cutting it out. Well, we go back to Paula on the phone with Mr. Fieldsmore, and she's explaining the plot of her new book, saying it's basically a story of sex, murder, extortion, revenge, blackmail, and sex. He tells her to send a draft and he'll read it, but then simultaneously tells her he'll be leaving on vacation for 4 weeks. So he'll read it when he gets back. Paul is insistent that he takes it with him on vacation to read, and he informs her that he's leaving the following evening at 6 p.m.
This is what I wanted to talk about. If she's writing this book and she wants to punch it up, why wouldn't she want to wait the 4 weeks to like really make sure it's like combed over and like finalized before giving it to this man? Why rush it until 6 p.m. the next day?
Right. I think she's just so excited. It's been like she said, like years in the making.
What's 4 more weeks?
That's true. But if she's this excited and she's got him on the phone now, she wants him to read it.
That's fair.
I mean, I've been there. I have been there as like I want to work on it a little bit, but like I want it to be here it is, but like not yet here. Like let me just 1 second. Let me look at it. Okay, now you can wait. Hold a second. I gotta fix that mistake. Here you go.
Yeah. Well, Paula says she will get it to him, and he tells Paula he genuinely doesn't care one way or the other.
Damn.
Yeah. She starts to go on again, and he's like, Paula, I'm hanging up now. So the next scene opens with a bird flying through the air. We see it poop, and that poop falls and lands right behind Brendan, Melissa, and Coach McGurk.
What a transition shot.
Beautiful.
I know Marson loved it.
I was looking away for that. I did not even. What?
You didn't see
You
the
didn't
poop?
catch that?
Nah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
What? Why'd you
So
waste precious animating budget on that?
Hey, everybody poops, my guy.
That's right,
They
dude.
wrote a whole book about
Yeah, I
it.
didn't want to see the bird
right.
do it though.
Too bad. Birds do it too. So
Birds
do
are the
bees.
worst
Yeah.
with it.
They don't give a fuck.
Birds, I think, have malicious intent behind it.
They
Yeah.
do.
Coach immediately starts asking Brendan what's wrong with his mom. He says, why won't she pretend to be my girlfriend? But the original talk was about being his fiance.
Yeah.
That's when everybody's favorite Walter and Perry approach, asks who wants to sign their petition. Melissa asks what it's for, And Walter and Perry inform them that they're cutting down the old elm tree at the town center, and they want to save it.
That's so sweet.
Yep.
Little activists.
Yeah. Well, Coach says that the tree is an eyesore, and they should just get rid of trees.
Of course. Of course, that's his take on the situation.
Brendan agrees and says that the tree is old and dying, so why would they want to save it? And that's when Walter and Perry, in unison, well, it's been there for a long time, and they want to save it for future generations to enjoy it also. We see a little flashback of the tree, and it's got a little heart with the Walter and Perry carved in it.
Yeah. Which begs the question, do they really care about the tree, or do they care about their carving?
This, to me, just kind of felt like, oh, they hang out under this tree. They carve into it. They probably have picnics.
They piss on it.
Woohoo!
I mean, we never. So I told Adele before we started watching this episode, I said, there's 2 lines from this episode that I've just used like out in random conversation with Adele. And she's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, sorry, it's from Home Movies.
And that was one of them. Oh, we didn't get to the part yet. Sorry.
Yeah. So they tell him, yeah, they want to save it for future generations to enjoy. And that's when Perry chimes up and says, and guys, one time we peed on it. And Walter immediately tells Perry not to tell anyone about that. And that's when Perry chimes up with another classic line from this episode. I mean, we never peed on it. So they go on to explain that they just need 10,000 signatures by 6 o'clock today, and they won't cut it down. Brendan asks how many signatures they have, and they say about 670. And that's when Melissa points out that all the signatures are theirs, and they're supposed to get other people to sign it. Walter and Perry push back and say they don't have to get other people to sign it as long as it's a signature. And then Brendan asks, why don't you just sign the rest of the signatures yourself? And that's when they point out, my hand hurts.
Mine too.
And they hold hands.
The animation of their pained hands.
Yeah.
The blisters, they're popping out of their gloves.
Well, the next scene opens and we see a kid on a stretcher at I don't know if it's a soccer game or practice, but a kid on a stretcher getting carried away. So that's when Brendan tells Coach, since they have some extra time, would he be willing to be in his mockumentary? Coach immediately says no. So Brendan starts explaining what a mockumentary is, and Coach says, I know what a mockumentary is. I just don't want to be in it.
Which is surprising because usually he's like all for the attention.
Yeah. Remember when they ask if he wants to be in the movie about Melissa's grandpa and he's got little stars in his eyes?
Yeah.
So.
What happened? Maybe he just got tired of it.
Well, I think Coach was a little peeved about Brendan's mom not helping him out.
Damn.
So he was just being a curmudgeon.
I think he wanted Brendan to finally just beg him, and then he's like, well, I'll do it if your mom agrees to be my fiance.
Yeah. It's an even trade, Brendan. I say 3 lines in your silly little movie, and your mom is my fiance.
Just ask your mom, Brendan. Let's pretend. I'll be your mom. Now ask me.
That's what's wrong with this country. Nobody asks anymore.
Oh, you two.
Well, they give Coach the script anyway and start explaining his character, Brad Badman, who gets killed in the first minute of the movie. Again, Coach pushes back. Melissa explains it's a mockumentary called Movie History, and Coach is like, oh, so what? It's about like the history of making movies or something? And Melissa explains, no, it's a joke title. The director changed the film name to Movie History so he can say that he's making movie history. Coach says he doesn't like joke titles, and Melissa agrees while simultaneously giving Brendan some very hard side-eye.
Brendan gives her side-eye back.
Oh, yeah. Brendan explains his name is Brad Badman, calls action. Again, Coach says he's not going to do it, and they should just turn the camera off. Brendan continues to ask him questions and expects him to read the script, but Coach is just not having it.
I don't know. I've been in this situation before, just like trying to explain. Just say the words that are on the goddamn script, please.
I think at one point Brian's like, yep, you see all those words under Brad? Read those.
When Brendan's face just starts dropping and his eyes are just in a dead stare, I'm like, yeah, right there, buddy.
Been there. Coach asked Brendan why he would do this, and I think Brendan's first response is, you look good on film. And then his second response is, it's a copy for your demo reel. And then Melissa points out, hey, you're helping out kids. So Coach proposes to Brendan that if he can get his mom to agree to go with him to the airport and meet his sister, then he'll do the movie. Brendan kind of counter-offers and says he'll try as hard as he can to talk to his mom if Coach just does the part. So they agree, but Coach decides that he doesn't like the name Brad and he wants to change it to Jeff. Jeff Schwartz. Brendan pushes back and says they've already referenced him in the film, but Coach really doesn't care. Brendan finally concedes, re-asks the question, but says Jeff instead of Brad. Coach reads the lines pretty poorly, saying that, sure, everyone wants to be in a movie longer than 40 seconds, but with the attention span today, 40 seconds is a long time. Which, if true in 2002...
It's about 11 seconds now in comparison.
It's not even that, dude. Oh my God. It's
bad.
real bad.
They've turned all of our brains to mush.
I have to look at 3 videos at the same time sometimes. I hate what they've done.
Yeah. That's why we got to get off them. We got to get off
Crush
the
our
screens.
phones.
I agree.
Hate.
Throw 'em in the
Hate.
ocean.
Fenton. Hate.
That was a joke. Don't throw your phone in the ocean. That's polluting.
Yeah, that's bad for the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, Melissa and Brendan both yell cut because it's starting to rain. Oh, we have a quick scene where Walter and Perry show up to a woman's house to ask her to sign the petition. As soon as she opens the door, Walter quietly tells Perry, she's hideous.
Oh.
They give her the sales pitch to sign the petition to save the big elm tree, and she immediately says no and slams the door in their face.
Probably because she just heard this little kid say that she's hideous.
I like to think that this could be McGurk's sister, but she's not at the airport, so that doesn't make sense. But she could be at the airport.
This is McGurk's other sister.
Right, his local sister.
Yeah. I want to know more about McGurk's family.
This could be Jason's
How
mom.
many siblings does he have? That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Pull up the doodle that Jason did in season 2, and they're exactly the same.
Right. All right, so now we're at the small residence. We see Paula typing away on her typewriter, working on her book. I don't know if you guys caught this. I didn't catch it until the breakdown. Josie has like a smaller little pink typewriter that she's typing in.
That's so cute.
She keeps looking up at Paula.
I think they really brought it home with Josie because we didn't see her at all season 2, so they're like making a point not only to have her in the episodes, but to give her like a little personality, little flair here and there. It's cute.
Yeah, I like Josie.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're actually doing something with her this season instead of just having her over there.
Yeah.
Hidden.
She's just there.
Right. So Coach McGurk is sitting on the couch. Brendan is there as well. Coach proposes a compromise to Paula where they just take a few pictures and he shows them to his sister, and then that way Paula doesn't have to go anywhere. At first, Paula kind of pushes back, saying she has to finish her book. Coach tells Brendan to tell Paula what he did for him the other day. Brendan replies, oh yeah, he bought me a cup of coffee.
Giving an 8-year-old coffee.
Well, that's when Coach says, no, about the movie. And Brendan quickly says, oh yeah, Mom, Coach helped me with the movie. So Paula finally folds and says, okay, she'll do the pictures. So Brendan is the one with the camera. He's trying to get them to get a little closer so they don't look so unnatural. Brendan takes a picture and then suggests another one where they act a little goofy together. But when Brendan finally takes the picture, it just looks like Paula is laughing at Coach. So for the next picture, Brendan starts with, Mom, I hate to do this to you, but you're sitting on Coach's lap.
Bogus.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she did it.
Yeah.
Right? And it shows the picture, and honestly, it's not a bad picture.
I like that her hands are like pushing off of him.
Yeah.
She looks like she's a hostage.
Like a bad Santa picture.
I don't know. I'm not seeing it.
You love it?
No, I'm not seeing the doodle of Jason's mom being similar to this woman.
Oh, did he send that?
Yeah.
Listen, I can make an argument for it that Jason is a really bad drawer.
They both have red
They
hair.
do. They
Yeah.
both have a dress.
They both wear dresses. Oh, wait, go back to the shoes. When did you just see her legs? Is she wearing yellow shoes? I think she is.
No, she's wearing purple shoes. But
Fuck.
she doesn't have to, like, they're not glued to her feet. She could have different feet.
Everybody else wears the
I'm
same
not.
stuff every single day.
I let some pretty wild theories pass in this show. I'm not getting behind this one.
Let me hold on to hope.
I'll get behind that was Melissa from the future learning to golf so she can get with Jason theory before I'm gonna give you this is Jason's mom.
Wow. I almost hit the hang up button on this Discord call.
Damn.
I would have been just sitting in the dark like, oh, okay.
The following scene is Paula leaving to drop off her book with the agreement of Coach watching the kids. Coach reiterates that Paula needs to get back in time for him to run to the airport. Paula tells Brendan to be good and tells Melissa and Jason to listen to Coach. Paula says goodbye to Josie by saying, "Goodbye, my precious." And Coach says, "Goodbye, my precious."
When Paula says to Brendan to behave, he just goes, "Oh, mother.
Oh, mother.
Oh, mother. You know I'm not going to."
Yeah, exactly. And right before Paula leaves, we hear the man on the radio say the storm is on its way, and they're going to get hit pretty hard. Immediately after Paula leaves, Coach tells Brendan to hold Josie. And Brendan straight up says, "I don't take care of that. And that's not my bag."
I love that that's not my bag.
Yeah,
That is not my job.
basically. I know for a fact that I have said that's not my bag before when somebody's like, "Hey, I need you to do this." Oh, hey, that's not my bag.
It's not my bag.
Sorry, boss.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Oh, wrong animated series. Coach says he doesn't really know how to hold a baby, and Brendan responds, "Neither do I." Coach says they're in trouble, and Brendan kind of points out that Coach is in trouble because he's the one that agreed to all this. He asks Brendan if she has a pen, and Brendan replies, "I think she has a cage."
That got me.
That's when Coach asks for rope and says, "I'm just going to tie her to the couch." So this next scene, real quick, it starts with Paula driving down the road wearing sunglasses. Dude, just that little 3 second, I can see that looped with some lo-fi music playing.
Hell yeah.
Just
Yep.
fucking chill.
Make it happen, Captain.
Let's do it.
I could actually do that pretty easily.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
It gives super fucking chill vibes.
Maybe I could do that and put the full theme music of the pod over it.
Yeah.
Let's
Or
go.
the theme music of the pod, but slow it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
slow
Yeah.
it down.
We'll make a lo-fi chill
I'll just take it
version.
and
Yeah.
stretch it out.
Perfect.
Oh, that's good. That's good. No, you're good. I also wanted to point out that the animation of the trees and her going down the road,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Really good.
I was blown away by it when I saw it.
Yep. Absolutely. Animators crushed it this episode. Between that
Absolutely.
and the bird shit transition, you can't.
Same level.
Same level. We enjoy it all equally, right, folks?
Yes.
Am I right,
Disagree.
folks? Folks.
Disagree.
He's right.
He's right. The crowd. All in unison. He is right. Okay.
Please enjoy all transitions equally.
All right. And now we have the next scene, which starts in the movie, which is going to be our clip for this episode.
Directing a movie isn't just about yelling action or cut. Sometimes I yell, "Good morning" or "Good night," depending on the time of day. That's what. Next question.
Nah.
What?
No.
No, but one more
Brendan,
question.
Melissa and I were talking.
Okay.
Yeah, we think this
Hand on the
mockumentary is a crockumentary.
I gave her that one.
We want to do something else.
Cut. What are you guys talking about?
We'd rather be making the movie we're mocking in the mockumentary movie. We just think that the actual movie we're doing now about the mockumentary isn't as good as the movie we're mocking. Do you know what I mean?
I think what she's saying is we'd rather be making the movie that we're making with the mockumentary movie
Right.
instead of the movie we're making.
Exactly.
You guys would be rather mocking the movie that we're making the mockumentary than mocking the movie that we're making right now, which is the mockumentary movie.
Exactly.
Or would you be rather mocking the mockumentary movie and making that movie, or making the inside mockumentary movie of the mockumentary?
No,
That
we'd rather
No,
not
we
be
don't wanna
mocking
be-
in a mockumentary, but
Oh,
make
okay.
the movie that we're mocking in the mockumentary.
So you'd rather make the movie you're mocking in the mockumentary rather than the movie that you're making
No,
that is a
we'd
mockumentary.
rather make the making of the mocking the mockumentary movie.
I'm getting two stories from you guys. He's saying he wants to make a mockumentary of the making of the mockumentary movie. That
No.
is about the other what?
That's not what he
I'm
means.
saying I want to make it the making of.
No, Jason, that's not what we talked about.
That's what I want to do. to.
Well, I pitched that.
Melissa,
already.
I've-
You guys nixed that a long time ago. The making of a mockumentary movie that has a movie inside of it, right?
All
Which
I'm
is essentially
Which is essentially a
mockumentary.
mockumentary.
Correct.
All I'm
Yes.
saying is I want to make movie history.
Boring.
Boring. Oh, yeah. The dialogue in that scene. Okay, so full disclosure, we chose to play that clip because for my breakdown, it's a paragraph that just says isn't the movie making mockumentary about making mockumentary making about within the mockumentary movie instead of the mockumentary itself.
I think you nailed that, honestly.
No,
I
don't
started
think so.
disassociating the same time that I did when the scene started playing again. I just the second it started
That's
going, I was
totally
like, "Oh no, I'm fading from reality. I'm going away."
So a lot going on there. But essentially it is Jason and Melissa expressing to Brendan that they're just not feeling his movie.
Which is okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to not want to be a part of this one, to move on. Maybe just
Yeah.
vote on it.
I think they do.
And yet,
It's so funny. It reminds me of like the Franz Kafka, where some people are so against the idea and the premise, but like if you're talking like budget and production value and the way it looks and everything, it's like, this is amazing, you guys.
yeah.
The poster for movie history is phenomenal. Your guys' costumes, phenomenal. And yet you still have people who are like, nah, nope, this is dumb.
Yeah. They don't want to do the mockumentary though. They want to do the I don't want to do the spiel again. I was about to, but I wasn't
Right.
going to.
But essentially, Melissa wants to make the Star Wars spoof that they are talking about in the mockumentary, not the mockumentary itself.
Some might argue that it's them being a little bit snobby.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, because it's like, at the end of the day, you guys are kids, and
Right.
you're just making movies for fun.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
And not just that, you're churning out, what, like 2 a week?
Yeah, it'll be over soon.
Finish this movie, and then when it's like, all right, what do we do next? Hey, remember the movie from the mockumentary? I kind of want to just make that movie now.
Yeah.
Think,
Yep.
but
But when you're that young, time moves way different. It feels like it moves
Yeah.
slower. So 2 weeks
Yeah.
could feel like
That's
like
true.
a month.
exactly. But they're
Very
thinking
true.
about the merchandise. They're thinking about movie history, the cereal, movie history, the lunchbox, movie history.
Movie history, the popcorn
Yeah.
bucket.
The 6-part trilogy, the spin-offs, the animated series, the streaming series,
The multiverse.
The reboot.
the games,
The live action.
the sequel to the games. Yep.
God, it's just, I'm not going to go on that tangent. All right.
Well, the next scene, we see McGurk walking into Josie's room, and she's hanging from the little, what do you call those, little baby
Like the,
mobile?
yeah, like
Mobile?
there's a name for it. Like,
Yeah.
I want to say carousel, but that's
I think it's a mobile.
I want to say mobile. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Coach asks her what happened, and at that point we hear thunder, and Josie jumps again. So that's when Coach tells her not to be scared of the thunder. It's just a noise. It's the lightning that kills you. Like thousands of people every year. He goes on to say, what else can kill you? Food. Food can kill you. Well, that's when we hear the radio again saying the tornado warning is in effect, and they should seek shelter or a basement immediately.
There are 2 types of people in this world.
Go on.
People who immediately go into the basement, me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then there are people who go outside and look for their tornado, Tim.
Wait.
So me, alone, scared in the basement, has no idea where my fiance is. While he's having a grand old time outside, risking his life.
We live in the Midwest. Like, that's what we're supposed to do, is go outside and look for the tornado.
I didn't get that article or email.
I got it in my Midwestern pamphlet book on how to live in the Midwest back in 1997.
Damn, see? Well, that's why I didn't
Wasn't
get
the
it.
creative corner of this very episode you talking about watching storms?
Listen. I love storms. I hate tornadoes. Tornadoes freak me the fuck out. It's been that way since I was a kid. I don't like the big winds.
I saw Twister and it was over. I wanted to chase tornadoes and be a part of those adventures. Those were my bag, baby. I wanted to be there.
I've heard people say that the energy in the sky when a tornado is present is like unmatched and very intense and life-changing, but I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I'm there yet to be that.
Every
brave.
time there was like this tornado warning going off, I would grab all my stuffed animals and all my toys and I would take them all to the basement.
Yeah.
And then I'd go upstairs and sit on the porch and wait for the tornado. Because
So you saved your
Yeah.
toys.
Hell
Your
yeah.
toys were
yes.
saved.
That's how you do it.
Exactly. I wanted to see a tornado. It is a different story, a different beast when you see nature turn malevolent. Like just seeing that, just like the darkness of it is just a different ball game altogether.
I think seeing it from afar, I'd be okay, but you never know like when they're going to form or where they're going to form. You could be standing there waiting for your little tornado to come out and it just forms directly above your head and then you get sucked up.
Or
Or
it forms behind you, and then you're like, Tim, get your ass in here. And then I'm like, it's right behind me, isn't it? And then we just
Wow.
laugh and laugh. See?
and then we get sucked into it and die.
But we're separated, so it's like a fun ride.
It forms behind you and it says nothing personal, kid.
Don't take it personally.
And then I get sucked up, and then it freeze framed, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here.
I've never actually seen a tornado
Oh.
touchdown. I've just seen a lot of warnings and people telling me to get into the basement, and I've just never seen it happen.
I will say, Adele is right. I am a total go outside during a storm, especially a tornado. When I start seeing some clouds very rapidly spinning, I'm like, all right, we've had it.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
Yeah.
We're good.
Because it gets scary out there in the streets.
I just my
Okay,
final
well, don't storm shame me, please.
my final take on this. Why are you telling me to get in the basement? It's not going to matter. What are you talking about? You think the basement's going to stop me from being sucked up? It's going to take the
Whoa,
floor
whoa,
above
whoa,
me.
Whoa. Now you're just that was my only safety net, dude.
Don't worry.
That was what kept me sane. You know what makes tornadoes scary? It's not even, well, it is the tornado, but it's more so the fucking sirens are the most scary. Couldn't you make it a little bit more pleasant? Like, hey guys, there's a tornado. Tornado. I don't know. Horror movie music. That's what it is.
It's gotta get you to go. It's gotta get you to move.
My favorite is like every Tuesday of the month when you're like, wait, okay, we're good. We're good.
No, I always know about that. So I'm like, oh, free games on PS Plus come out today.
With my sleeping schedule, it's always when I'm sleeping, and then I'm like jarred awake in the middle of my sleeps.
Well, immediately after that, Coach heads into the basement with Josie. I don't know why this part tickles me so much. He's like, Brendan, Melissa, Jason, is that his name?
And Jason looks so offended, too.
Oh, he looks so pissed. So this is a little inside joke. H. John Benjamin, the reason we rarely see Jason and McGurk interact, H. John Benjamin hated doing scenes where he had to do both. Absolutely hated it. So he wanted them separated as much as possible. Whereas Brendan is like, oh my God, I would love making Ken Adelberg talk to Brendan. Like, he's like, that was a blast for me. He tells him a tornado is coming, so he's going to stay downstairs with the baby, and they should all go upstairs and play. Melissa asks if they should stay down there, and Coach says no, it's safer for everyone to be separated. Saying the rule is you separate because if you get sucked up in the funnel and you're separated, then you just spin around. It's like a fun ride. But when you're all together, you start knocking into each other, you start knocking heads, and somebody dies. That's when he mentions how he needs to check on his sister's flight. And we have a quick scene where he's on the phone saying her flight has been rerouted and he's not going to see her after all. All that work, all those pictures were for nothing
Damn.
because of a tornado.
Genuinely disappointed. I really wanted to see her.
Yeah.
And I low-key wanted to... There had to have been, like, a previous conversation where McGurk, like, nervously tells her that he got engaged just to impress her or to get her off his back or some shit.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I can't wait to meet her. Oh, I have a layover in your town on this day.
Yeah.
Bring your fiance.
Yeah.
Like, low-key, she knows he's full of shit.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're somebody's sibling, you absolutely know when they're full of shit.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see their conversation when she's just trying to pick apart Paula and McGurk's relationship. So, you said you met
Yes.
where? And they both say two different things at the same time. It writes
Right.
itself.
I need that episode.
Coach says it's probably for the best because who would be crazy enough to drive in this weather? It's basically suicide. And that's when we show Brendan, whose mom is totally driving in this weather. So Coach apologizes to Brendan, says sorry about your mom. And we see Jason even like pat the top of Brendan's head a couple times.
Now, that is my worst nightmare. Driving in a storm. That is my worst nightmare.
Absolutely. How are you going to chase a tornado if not in a car?
All right, I got legs, don't I?
You're just going to run after it. Love that.
I would just do it in VR. Oh, yeah. And Coach says to Brendan that Paula should be fine. She took driver's ed, right? Well, that's when we cut to Paula struggling to drive in the rain. She swerves to avoid a tree and ends up driving her car into a ditch.
Nightmare.
Scary shit.
Nightmare.
Very scary. Even the way that was animated with like the water on the windshield, you couldn't see shit. Then it was like tree, boom, over, like breaks the little guardrail. Very well done. Very scary.
Mm-hmm. Driving in a storm with zero visibility on the highway was
Nightmare.
probably the worst experience I've ever had in a car.
Yeah.
That's not true, but it's the second worst experience. I've had
Imagine
in
if
a
someone
car.
was singing Wicked the entire time.
Oh, that's some friendship
Yeah,
lore.
I can't stand driving in the rain or the snow for that matter. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
God, scary.
absolutely.
We hear Paula saying to herself that she's okay. She needs to relax. And that's when she realizes that it's too late for her to drop her book off.
And she bangs her head off the horn.
So the next scene, we see Brendan and Coach mid-conversation. Brendan is saying that he thinks Coach is getting carried away, and Coach tells Brendan, you took it personal. It's nothing against you. I'm just saying that if we have to eat each other, I'm going to go for Jason first, then Brendan, then Melissa, then the baby.
I feel like that's the correct order of things.
So,
Yeah.
but why would Brendan take offense to him being chosen second?
Brendan probably assumed he was first. With his ego, he's like, obviously you're going to eat me first, right?
Jason's got that marbleized meat with the fat. It's gonna be
I would have.
better.
Jason would have probably survived. I would not eat Jason.
Too dirty.
Like, he's told me so much stuff about his like rashes and his skull cap and his like. I just
Oh yeah.
don't want to be there.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
I get it.
I feel like he's cleaned up a little bit.
That's true. Ever since the nurse.
Mm-hmm.
We see Jason get off the phone with presumably his parents, and Melissa goes to call her dad. Brendan asked Jason what that was about because he was on the phone for like 20 minutes. So Jason goes on to explain he told his mom he was at Brendan's. And his mom said, Brendan who? So Jason had to explain who Brendan is, that they're best friends and they make movies. So she asked, like, what kind of movies? And he said, oh, fun movies, like real movies, but shorter. And she said, like, what? So he explained some of their movies and then the mockumentary. And Jason's mom said, oh, I like mockumentaries like Spinal Tap. And Jason's like, I don't know what that is.
When I first watched this episode and that lore was dropped, my mouth fell open. I was so shocked. And then Melissa slowly comes into frame with the same face, and it's just, how? Where did his parents think he was this entire time? Because he's always at Brendan's house.
Great question.
It was 2002.
it's true.
This is just, I'm going on vibes alone here, kids. My personal vibe is like Jason just has that relationship with his parents where he doesn't ask them if he can go somewhere. He doesn't tell them where he's going. He's just like, all right, I'm leaving. And they're like, okay, bye.
Classic 7-year-old, am I right?
Yeah. I don't know where my 7-year-old
Yeah.
is.
What the fuck?
What?
Imagine one day after like years of your marriage, like a door opens and in walks a child. You're like, hey, what's going on, Tim? It's me.
That would be the day that I'd say goodbye to the
To
earth.
the earth.
to the earth and everybody who inhabits it.
Did you hear in the phone call Jason was having with his mom? When a mom was like, yeah, these two kids just showed up at my house and asked me to sign this sheet for something. They called me grotesque.
Nope.
They called her
Hideous, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear that. Yep, right before he hangs up.
I did not hear that. I didn't. You feel like that would have came up. You feel like that definitely would have came up. They had a very long conversation.
It was a 20-minute conversation. He had to like minimize the entire conversation.
I feel like with the way Jason explained that phone call, he would have been like, and also two people showed up and called my mom hideous.
But that's like a normal Tuesday.
Right, the typical. So yeah, what a wild fucking lore drop. Jason just never told his parents about, even Melissa. So Brendan's like, you never told him about me? And he's like, no.
That's your best fucking friend.
And even Melissa's like, you never told him about me? You know, the girl you've openly said you have a crush on?
Right, and they're going to marry.
Yeah.
Listen. I will admit huge mass majority of my friends have never met my parents, but I have talked about every single one of you to them. Like, it just comes up in conversation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they not ask Jason about his life?
I guess not.
I can see it happening. I can see parents who just like, yeah, whatever. You were off on your own adventures.
Damn. Must be nice.
Right. Well, now we see Paula standing on the side of the road in a rainstorm, waiting to see if anyone will drive by. In the background, we see a full-blown tornado.
I thought she was going to get picked up. I legit thought she was going to get picked up.
That was a definite, it's right behind me, isn't it? Well, we come back to Coach, who's with the kids, and he's explaining that a tornado can drive a 3-inch nail into a tree. And the kids are genuinely not impressed at all.
No.
He asked them if they can hammer a nail into a tree by just blowing on it, and they say no. Well, Coach explains, well, that's what a tornado does. It blows on a nail, and it goes into a tree. And I love this because Brendan is like, why?
Could that nature, baby.
Coach says, I don't know, maybe to mark it. And Brendan says, oh, yeah, maybe to like hang a little sign. We see Paula again waiting in her car as someone approaches her window. She thinks it's the police, and so she rolls down her window to find Walter and Perry hanging on the side of her window, almost flying away. She tells them to get in the car, and they say no because they only need 4 more signatures to save the big elm tree. And that's when we see in the background the big elm tree blow away.
They collected 9,996 signatures.
It seems like it.
Well, like 670 of those were theirs.
That's true.
But still, how big is this town?
I don't know. A lot of people in Florida.
It's true.
Very true.
Walter asks Perry if that was the tree, and Perry, sounding defeated, says yes. Well, we're back in the basement. Brendan is asking Jason and Melissa who is in favor of dropping the mockumentary. Jason and Melissa both raise their hands. Brendan asks who's in favor of doing the mockumentary, and Brendan raises his hand and then even says, good, now we're getting somewhere. All right, well, we're back in the car with Paula, Walter, and Perry. She's explaining that she is taking her book, removing all the murder and sex, and making it into a children's book instead.
Is she just saying that because Walter and Perry were reading it?
I feel like she really did have kind of a change of heart about what her book was going to be about.
I don't know. I kind of missed the dental hygienist one that she wrote.
You know what? And somebody in like one of the online synopsises that I read were like, oh yeah, this is the book, the dental book that she wrote. And I was like, is it? I don't know.
It's murder mystery.
Right. But who knows? She says it's going to be about a sparrow and a cockroach who get lost during a storm and go on an adventure together. Walter and Perry, not impressed with this at all. They said it sounds trite, and it sounds like something that's been done before.
Damn.
Yeah. I believe it was the Bare Naked Ladies who said, it's all been done. It's all been done. And I believe it was David Lynch that says, of course it's all been done, but not by you. Your voice matters.
True.
That's a good mindset. I like that.
I like that a lot. Well, Walter and Perry used their voice to say, yeah, that sounds lame. Double lame. Double lame-o donkey dick.
Sucking on a witch's tit. After they said this, I wrote, "Are Walter and Perry high?" I don't understand why they said that.
I don't either.
And why they morphed and fell to the ground laughing.
When they said that, they hugged each other and laughed so hard, like ear to ear smiles on both their faces.
I think it's probably an inside joke between the two.
It could be.
Yeah.
I think it was just something that in their probably hours and hours of improving was something they ended up saying together and just got an absolute fucking kick out of it.
Nice.
But that was another thing I said to a dick once. I was like, double ammo donkey dick. Sucking on the witch's tit. And she's like, excuse me? And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, it was home movies.
Well, first off, one day you'll understand.
We're back in the basement. We hear on the radio that the storm has passed and it's safe to come out. But Coach says wait, because it might be a trick.
Why? Why would it be a trick?
I think Coach is getting a tornado confused with like a hurricane, where a lot of times when a hurricane comes by and then you get into the eye of the hurricane, a lot of people are like, oh, yay, it's over. We can come out now. And it's actually like just the eye of the hurricane.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, not Coach not being smart enough to know that tornadoes.
He's just lived long enough to be a very paranoid person, and I feel that on a spiritual level.
Yeah. He's like, watch out, that tornado might trick us.
They're lying to us always.
Like every other woman in my life.
Oh.
Well, we're back in the car. Walter and Perry are jumping in the back seat, saying that Paula should write a story about Walter and Perry.
They are so meant to be together because they are the same level of annoying.
Yes. Again, the commentary was just a bunch of like fan-submitted questions. And the one I think that was about couples watching the show together, one of the people that wrote in said that her and her husband made a pact that if they ever get arrested, that they would just talk like Walter and Perry and try to be so annoying that they just let him go.
That's kind of smart.
You should arrest Perry and I.
Arrest us.
Put us in handcuffs.
Us now. Grab our arms.
Paula says she'll think about it, but she'll probably stick with the sparrow and the cockroach instead. Walter and Perry angrily push back, saying she has to write a book about Walter and Perry. That's when we see a figure approach. It's the cop. Paula jumps out of the car, saying she's glad to see him. Lands at his feet in the mud.
We've seen that cop before.
We have.
So, yes, Quicks, I put a side note here. This is the cop that was voiced by Mitch Hedberg, but in this episode he has no speaking lines.
Yeah.
But yes, we have seen this cop before. This is the cop that arrested McGurk, and this was the cop that was at the scene during Brendan's accident when he gets hit on his
Law
bike.
and Border.
There you go. We're back at the small residence. Paula is saying she is so glad she didn't make it to Mr. Fieldmore's office. That you can say that Storm saved her life. Her literary life.
Huh?
On the floor, we see Walter, Perry, and Jason all sleeping. Paula's telling Coach McGurk, thanks again for staying here with the kids. We pull back to reveal he's cracking open a beer, and he's like, oh, what, we're wrapping this up?
He doesn't want to go home.
No, he's ready. He's down to hang. Finally, we have a mockumentary scene where Brendan is saying that movie history opened with the biggest box office draw in movie history. And they knew they had made movie history with the movie history. And now he'd like to say something to all the young directors out there. Brendan turns to the camera and says, if you want to make movie history, just make sure you own the camera.
That's him referencing that they did his idea anyway.
Yep.
Because he owns the camera.
Yep. Well, we pull back to reveal that Brendan is filming this alone on a tripod with Walter and Perry there behind the camera. I don't know if you call it this, but they were like, cut, print, perfect.
I didn't catch that, no.
I don't know why them just saying perfect just cracks me up so much.
Walter with the apple cart.
With the apple cart.
Perry.
I'm a pretty daffodil.
A pretty little daffodil.
How could you?
I'm beautiful. No, it's imitation sincere's form of flattery. That's why I dress like you.
That's why I dress like you.
You dress like me, I dress like you.
Perry.
Dream of me, Perry.
Dream of me, Perry.
Well, they go on to tell Brendan, you should make a movie about Perry and I.
Make a movie about Perry and I.
Brendan seems a little hesitant, so they continuously yell at him before Perry yells, grab his arms! And they start pulling at him, and that is the end of Season 3, Episode 9, Storm Warning. Beautiful. Oh, Storm Warning, gang. We did it. I love this episode.
It's a good episode.
Good episode. It's a fun episode.
I think so. I think we got a lot of earworms in that one. We got some good Walter and Perry time. I think it was David San Angelo who told me at this point the only notes they had was, hey, more kids, more McGurk. That's what we want.
They delivered.
Yeah. Good stuff. I really, really enjoy this episode.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot more pushback from Jason and Melissa about Brendan's creative projects.
Their voices are being heard.
Yeah. If they're going to be part of it, I mean, they have opinions.
I want to see Melissa direct.
They have opinions.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hell yeah. I want to know what movies.
Because if I see Jason direct, I feel like he's going to go off the deep end real quick.
Yeah, Jason.
He's going to let it get to his head real fast.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. So.
Speaking of Jason.
Yeah.
I was going back and forth on it this episode because I think I want to give him a B, but I'm also like hanging up on. I think he deserves maybe something more, but at the same time, he was just kind of being a bit of a hypocrite, staring at Melissa's boobs. I don't know if I can reward that. It's just my eyes.
No.
B for
B for
boobs. Well, that clears it. B for boobs.
Nice. Yeah, he had his moments this episode for sure. I think a lot of it just is stemming from Jason and Melissa's frustration with where Brendan's projects are right now creatively.
Yeah.
So.
And like they're expressing their opinions, but even at the end of the day, he was just like, okay, I'm not going to do it with you then. He still
Right.
did what he wanted.
Yeah, it's happened before with the Brendan where it's like, cool, you guys outvote me, but my camera counts as 3 votes. So
Damn.
I don't know.
Surprised Josie didn't vote. She was there.
Yeah, she was there and she was active. I love Josie this episode. We got a lot of good Josie parts.
More
I was going to say, there was a part I wrote down in my notes. I kind of glossed by it, but at one point when the lights were off and she was hanging there, I thought, for a split second, I thought it was going to be like she was murdered and there was a murder mystery thing going on.
Oh my God. The murdering
Yeah,
of
like for a
baby?
split second,
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, we're going Clue territory. Oh my God.
Second episode in a row where it seems like we get a little more than usual cussing with a couple bleep outs with Walter and Perry's double lame-o donkey dick.
Yeah.
Do you think that's Adult Swim kind of pushing them to be like, go more? Let's see where we can push it.
Be a little bit more edgy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably weren't like, oh, you have to, but maybe just like, hey, I mean, look at the shows around you. You guys can drop a cuss word here and there.
Yeah, definitely back then, Adult Swim, all the other shows had a different vibe.
Yeah, for
Renegade
sure.
Angel.
Yeah. Which is maybe why home movies existed on Adult Swim, but then also kind of, I feel like existed in its own little bubble.
Do they ever show, because Adult Swim still exists, do they ever show reruns on Adult Swim today?
Of home movies?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's something that's only on streaming at this point.
Unfortunately.
Dang.
Even that, I fuck, it might be coming off of Max at some point, but thank goodness it's always on YouTube.
Right.
Let's
For
just
now.
get all our DVD burners ready.
Yeah, buddy.
DVD.
DVD. Nice. All right. Well, as far as grades for this episode itself, who wants to go first? Yeah, no, I will. This is when I talk about season 3 and just like really good episodes I love. This one is traditionally in that group of episodes. I know I started getting really loosey-goosey with my S tiers with the S's and S pluses and S minuses and whatnot, but For this episode, for me personally, I'm just going to give it a straight down the road S. This is a very good episode for me. A lot of earworms. I love McGurk hanging out with the kids. I love Walter and Perry's little C plot. Yeah, Paula's interaction with Mr. Fieldsmore or whatever his name is. Oh, can I talk to your father? Not right now. He's dead.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this episode. Personally, for me, yep, this is probably an easy S episode.
Interesting. How many S's are there that Tim has like handed out now? Like 4? Is this his 4th?
A lot.
There's at least, because I gave one to history, because that was the episode my brother was on. Shore Leave got one, I remember. Renaissance Guitarmageddon definitely got one. I think another one in there got like an S-.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's been a handful.
Interesting. I'm still waiting for the end to figure out what S's I would give out, because I do think there's a lot of specials I can give to these episodes. But for now, I think this episode gave a lot for me specifically. I have a huge fascination with storms. I have such a love for tornadoes and just like the sheer magnitude. I loved the movie Twister. I love that movie. I genuinely really love that movie. Underrated Philip Seymour Hoffman role. Such a good movie, and I just love how big, oh my god, it's an F5 tornado. It's just so big, and it's a black skies. I love tornadoes. But then Paula being a writer and just like going back and forth on her ideas, and then talking with that one weird guy that looks like the guy from Dick's Last Resort. Just had a really good time with this episode. Easy A+.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
I agree with everything you both just said. I feel like there's a very specific criteria for me to give something an S, which has become if Melissa is a badass or if Dwayne is in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which this really didn't have either, but it was so good, and I want to give it more than an A+, so I'm going to pull a Tim Blazekowicz and give it an S-.
Damn. S- and my government name. Shit.
Bleep
You want to
out
throw
your
a
last
social
name.
security number in there?
I don't give a shit. It's 1, 2,
I thought
3, 4, 5, 6.
Nice.
Hell yeah. I think these are some very solid grades. Very, very solid episode. I enjoyed this episode very much.
Yeah. I think you mentioned earlier in the day that did they say it in the commentary that it was a fan favorite?
No, so actually what it was is when I doing the little researches for these episodes, I'll hop onto Wikipedia and IMDb. And IMDb labeled this one as a fan favorite, but not Renaissance or Guitarmageddon. So
That feels wrong.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's based on overall score, but yeah, this one is labeled a fan favorite.
Very interesting.
I see it.
Well, they got McGurk. They have the kids. They have Paula.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tornado. The Walter and Perry.
Yeah. Big one for Walter and Perry, so that's probably why. All right, well, anything else we'd like to add to this episode?
Nope.
No, I think that covers it, I guess. All I have left to say is, guys, make a podcast about Perry and I.
Make a podcast about Perry and I.
Put Perry and I in a podcast, you guys.
Grab his ears.
Grab his arms and ears.
Are we technically doing that right now?
We're grabbing all of your ears. Are we?
I mean, we never peed on it. That's going to do it for this episode of Rewatching Home Movies. Join us next week for Season 3, Episode 10, It's Time to Pay the Price. If you liked what you heard, check out our Linktree at Linktree/RHMpod. There you can like, follow, and subscribe. Send us an email or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. Thanks to Chris Bongat for the use of our theme song and Jens for the refresh of our logo. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-host Marcin and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.